Rice is used in so many different types of cuisines, and it can be an integral part of the dish. Trouble is though, a lot of the time it can end up overcooked, mushy, and just a bit bland. In this video, I show you 3 ways of how to cook rice better. Here's how. Tip 1, measure out your water. Use less, basically. A lot of the time in the UK, when you pick up a rice packet, it will say, bring a large pan of water to the boil. It'll give the measurement for the rice, but not necessarily for the water. So, trick is, measure out your rice, measure out your water. These are the types of measurements that you can be using. And the thing is, of course, when you're using too much water, you're just going to overcook the rice. So it's better to use the right amount, then you're going to have perfectly cooked rice. To demonstrate this, I'm going to cook white rice with packet instructions and measuring out the rice and water, and you'll see the difference. First step is measure out the rice and then rinse off the starch under a cold tap. This is a really good thing to do with cooking any sort of rice. And then I'm going to measure out my water and add to the rice. For the packet instructions, I'm going to measure out my rice, and you can see here on the back of the packet it's talking about a large pound of water, which is absolutely fine, but doing it this way you're more prone to the rice just being overcooked. Both batches get a little bit of seasoning, a bit of salt and a bit of pepper to help it taste nice. Lid on and then bring up to a boil. Once this is boiling, I'm just going to turn it down so it cooks on a light simmer, moving it around from time to time. Now, a really good tip when you're cooking rice like this is to have a kettle of boiling water, and once the rice is cooked, pour that boiling water over, and this will help rinse off any excess starch and just make the rice really nice and fluffy and perfect to eat. And here we've got the 2 rices. The one on the left has been cooked for about 10-12 minutes or so with the right amount of water, and you can see it just flakes away really nicely. You can see the different grains of rice in there, and it is really nicely cooked. The one on the right, on the other hand, has been cooked per packet instructions with plenty of water, but unfortunately this has resulted in a kind of stodgy, overcooked rice. Tip 2. Cooking with aromatics makes rice a hell of a lot more interesting. I'll admit it, rice can be a bit plain Jane boring, and it will be if you just cook it by itself with no seasoning or no aromatics. But experiment with this. Use a cinnamon stick, use some star anise, any kind of aromatics which are your favourite, just to inject a bit more flavour into the rice and take it up to the next level. Rice should always start off with a really good seasoning, and then use your favourite aromatics just to bring it to life a little bit more. This time I'm going to use some Basmati rice. I really love Basmati rice. It's got a wonderful texture to it, and it's perfect with some nice Asian foods such as a curry. To help flavour this, I'm going to use some great aromatics like a cinnamon stick and some cardamom pods. Cardamom pods have a really wonderful flavour. I'm going to use my knife just to pierce the cardamom pod open slightly, and that will release some of its flavour and some nice star anise as well. Those ingredients go in with the rice, measure out my water again, touch of seasoning, salt and pepper, and I'm going to bring that to the boil, put on my lid and then cook on a light simmer. Wonderful, and you can see after this period of time of cooking it's just cooked really nicely, lots of lovely steam, seasoning there, and the rice is just really nice and flaky and perfectly cooked. Tip 3. Jazz up your rice with some herbs and spices. Once the rice is cooked, you can add in your favourite fresh herbs, a little bit of spice if you want. You can use different things when the rice is cooking, but once it's cooked, you can equally add in some lovely ingredients just to add a little bit more flavour and a bit more character. I love fresh herbs like parsley and basil. I love a bit of spice in there. I love chili powder. So, again, experiment, see what you like and see how flavoursome you can make your rice.
For my third option, I'm going to use some brown rice. I've measured this out as I have done in the previous times, and I've used a chicken stock cube, measured out the water, and then bring this to a light simmer and cook exactly the same as before. I do love this method because the chicken stock just really absorbs into the rice. Cut up a bit of parsley and some basil, and I'm going to use some rice wine vinegar to bring a touch of acidity to this rice, and then sprinkle in your herbs. Be really nice and generous with the herbs, and the residual heat from the rice is gently going to wilt all that down. Mix it all up, and there you have beautifully cooked brown rice with some lovely fresh herbs. Delicious.
Boring, overcooked, unconventional rice is out, and interesting, perfectly cooked, slightly exotic rice is in. This video shows how you can really up your rice game, and I wish you the best of luck cooking perfectly cooked rice at home. Thank you for watching, and catch you next time.